set to what, yeah, there we go. All right, so go back to Zoom and then share screen. And then I think I go like that. Okay, can people see a screen there? It says the first foundation of mindfulness. Okay, good. So I'll just do a quick summary. So the first, the 4 foundations of mindfulness is probably the Satipatthana, is probably the teaching that in the West, at least in the United States, and I would say England, we have adopted most of maybe all the teachings of the Buddha, of which there's volumes, right? The practice of mindfulness. So the Satipatthana can be translated as the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Sati being mindfulness or awareness, consciousness, and Patthana being foundation. Some say also Sati Upatthana, which can mean establishment. And, you know, as we know, it's become a whole world in and of itself. And by John Kabat-Zinn and his work using mindfulness first in the hospitals, and now you could take courses and so forth. So in the West, we've really, really embraced it. And we've especially embraced, of the 4, we've embraced the first one, which is mindfulness of the body. And within mindfulness of the body is mindfulness of the breath. And that is probably the most common meditation technique that we use, and was said to be sufficient to actually bring us to full liberation. The Buddha said this. So we really don't need a whole lot more than mindfulness of the body and mindfulness of the breath. So the 4, I've listed them out. We have mindfulness of the body being the first one, kaya, mindfulness of feelings or feeling tone, Vedana, which we'll talk about in future sessions, mindfulness of the mind and mind states, emotions, thoughts, and so forth, chitta, and mindfulness of phenomena, also known as dhamma, which basically is the lists and the teachings of the Buddha. So I thought today I would just talk a little bit about mindfulness of the body. And we did talk a little bit about this last week as well. So in the Pali translations of the Buddhist teachings, in mindfulness of the body, breathing is the first stage, you might say, or the first of the teachings. In the Chinese versions of the Buddhist teachings, in the Chinese canons, they actually have posture first. But in Pali, for some reason, it's breathing first, posture second. Now, interestingly, normally, at least when I lead a meditation, we do kind of start with the posture first, right? We go into the body, we feel our posture, we feel sensations, and then we go to the breath. So maybe inadvertently, I was sort of following the Chinese canon version of the teachings, but both are fine, right? We go breathing, postures, breathing. So the other ones in mindfulness of the body are what they call activities. So what we do in our daily lives. The atomical parts, which literally gets down to our organs and so forth. The 4 elements. And then the last one is death. Corpse in decay is how I think Analayo translates that. So I wanted to read a quote by a former, well now passed on, monk who is considered probably the great or great grand master, grand teacher of the contemporary teachers of, say, my age and older. Those especially who went to India in the 70s or went to Southeast Asia in the 70s and learned meditation from the masters of that time, which would include Ajahn Chah. And maybe many of you have heard his name. He is associated with the Thai forest tradition of the Theravada school of Buddhism. And Joseph Goldstein, Jack Kornfield, one of my teachers, Eugene Cash, these teachers really consider that Ajahn Chah was, if not their most inspirational teacher, one of them. Now this guy, Ajahn Mun, was the grand teacher of Ajahn Chah. He's also from Thailand. So he is quoted as saying, in your investigation of the world, and you can read along, it's right here. In your investigation of the world, never allow the mind to desert the body. Examine its nature. See the elements that comprise it. Kindly see the impermanence, the suffering, the selflessness of the body while sitting, standing, walking, or lying down. Those are the postures. That its true nature, then its true nature is seen fully and lucidly by the mind heart, by chitta. The wonders of the world will become clear. In this way, the purity of the heart can shine forth, timeless and delivered. I think he makes a pretty good pitch for why we want to stay embodied, right? One of our teachers, Martin Allward, he loves to use this word embodied, and it doesn't translate very well in English, encarnado or something like that, but I love it in English, just to be in this physical form, right? Not just from the neck up, which is how many of us often live. So I'm now going to go to a little bit of the Buddhist teachings as translated by Analio. And let's see, can I go from here straight to it? So do you now see something new on your screen? Miriam, did you see something new? No, that didn't work. Okay, let's see. How about now? Is that new? All right, I'm just going to stop that share and I'm going to start over. How about now? Okay. Okay, not sure exactly why I didn't transition, but okay, so this is a translation of the Satipatthana Sutta. Sutta meaning discourse or talks, right? And this one is done by Bhikkhu Analio, who is a German monk who lives at basically Insight Meditation Society in the Bodhi school. What is it called? The Bodhi University, something like that, near Forest Refuge in Bari, Massachusetts. And he's an incredible scholar, speaks like 10 languages, and can translate from Chinese as well as Pali.
Bari Center for Buddhist Studies.
Yeah, the Bari Center for Buddhist Studies, that's right. Okay, so this is a direct translation by Analio. Thus I have heard, on one occasion, the Blessed One, that being the Buddha, was living in the Kuru country at the town of the Kurus named Kamasadama. There he addressed the monks thus, monks or bhikkhus. Venerable Sir, they replied, the Blessed One said this, monks and nuns, this is the direct path for the purification of beings, for the surmounting of sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance of dukkha, which means unsatisfactoriness, suffering, and discontent, for acquiring the true method for the realization of nibbana, namely the four satipatthanas, nibbana being liberation from suffering. So the sutta goes on to say, what are the four? Here, monks, in regard to the body, a monk abides contemplating the body. Diligent, Bhikkhu Bodhi translated as ardent, but diligent, ardent, so with determination. Clearly knowing and mindful, free from desires and discontent in regard to the world. So that's the first one. In regard to feelings, Vedana, he abides contemplating feelings, diligent, clearly knowing and mindful, free from desires and discontent in regard to the world. In regard to the mind, Chitta, he abides contemplating the mind, diligent, clearly knowing and mindful, free from desires and discontent in regard to the world. And in regard to Dhammas, phenomena, he abides contemplating Dhammas, diligent, clearly knowing and mindful, free from desires and discontent in regard to the world. So he's saying that if we follow the practice of mindfulness with respect to these four things, we can realize nibbana. We can realize the cessation of suffering. So he then breaks it up, and rats, because I had the list on the other one. I was hoping I could go back and forth quickly, but I might have to practice more to learn how to do that. So the first one in mindfulness of the body is breathing, and I'm just going to kind of scroll so you can see. So then he does postures. Then he does activities, the atomical parts, the elements, and then last, corpse and decay. So I'm just going to do the first two. Make sure I got enough. Yeah, we have enough time, because I do want to have a little time for a little breakout. Breathing. Okay. And some of you are going to recognize the suggestion around breathing, because it's also found in the Anapanasati, which is mindfulness of breathing. That's another sutta, and it's 4 of the 16 that are offered in the Anapanasutta. So he says, this is again the Buddha. And how, monks, does he in regard, I'm sorry, it doesn't say she, it should say he and she, in regard to the body, abide contemplating the body? Here, gone to the forest, or to the root of a tree, or to an empty hut, or to our apartment, she sits down, having folded her legs crosswise, set her body erect, and establishes mindfulness in front of her. Mindfully, she breathes in, mindfully, she breathes out. And this is the specific teachings. Breathing in long, he knows, I breathe in long, right? So we're being careful. We're looking at the breath closely. Breathing out long, we know, we breathe out long. Breathing in short, we know, I breathe in short. Breathing out short, we know, I breathe out short. He trains thus. I shall breathe in, experiencing the whole body. Now, this is the third of the 16. Some people interpret the body as this physical form. Others interpret it as the body of the breath. But both are wonderful. You know, you can really experience the whole body of the breath or experiencing the whole body of the body. I prefer the whole body myself, but you have your option there. I shall breathe out, experiencing the whole body. He trains thus. This is the fourth one. I shall breathe in, calming the bodily formation. He trains thus. I shall breathe out, calming the bodily formation. So this, I found this interesting, because a lot of times when we talk about vipassana meditation, we want to be with things as they are, and we do not want to manipulate things as they are. But this one does suggest a little bit of action, a little bit of influence, because we are calming the bodily formation using the breath. Okay. I'm going to skip over just this little metaphor here about the apprentice. And now there's this refrain that comes in after each one of these. And I'm going to read just the end of it in the interest of time. He writes, or he spoke. Actually, they didn't write back then. They just memorized it. He abides contemplating the nature of arising in the body and he abides contemplating the nature of passing away in the body, or he abides contemplating the nature of both arising and passing away in the body. So this was sort of similar to what I hope I imparted kind of at the end of our meditation there, where we're just noticing the sensations arising and passing away. Or mindfulness that there is a body is established in him to the extent necessary for bare knowledge and continuous mindfulness. I love it. This is a translation of a text that's 2,600 years old, right? And it's so appropriate today. Bare knowledge and continuous mindfulness. And now this is maybe the key to it all. And he abides independent, not clinging to anything in the world, right? Because as we've learned, it's the clinging that causes us to suffering, right? That tanha, that grasping, wanting things to be different. And this is something that can come up so often right now. I mean, I imagine we've all had thoughts of, gosh, if there wasn't for this virus and if it wasn't for these lockdowns and these shelter in places and all this kind of stuff, I could be doing something else, clinging to that idea that I would be happier, life would be better if this wasn't happening right now. But literally through, and I feel this when I meditate, through mindfulness of the body, being aware of the body, contemplating just the sensations that are arising and passing away, it doesn't matter to me at all that there's a crisis going on right now. It's not until I get up into my little head. So he ends with, that is how, in regard to the body, he abides contemplating the body. Okay. I'm going to end there. Yeah. I think I'll end there. So we have 9 minutes. Oof, that went by faster than I had hoped. So let's see, maybe for those of you who I can see, maybe we'll have a little vote. So we have 9 minutes. If we end right at what would be, I guess, 9:10 your time. Would you guys like to do some small breakout rooms of 3 people so you have a chance to share, or maybe just open it up to questions in this group of 22 participants? How about do people want to do small groups? Raise your hand if you'd like to do small groups. Oh, we had Carlos would like to do a small group. But, and so then raise your hand if you'd like to maybe just stay together as a group and do questions and answers, and then we'll do a little metta at the end. So we got more hands for that. Okay. All right. Carlos, you and I can talk after if you'd like. Huh? Oh, wow. Javier. Okay. So yeah, if you have a question or a comment or would like to share, raise your hand using the little button underneath the participants list, and then I will unmute you and you can offer something. Carlos, do you want to say something even to the group or no? Okay. Oh, Nuria. Okay, you're not using the it's one thing if you use the little Levantar tu mano, your name actually goes to the top of the list, and then it's very easy to find. But we're not so many, so I can find you. Okay, Nuria.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you. Can you say something about the other two? Because you mentioned the body, the feelings, then the other one was the mind, maybe? I was taking notes, so I would like to complete the mindfulness thing.
Oh, you mean you want to know again the list of the four? So the first one is mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, or what we might call feeling tone, Vedana, mindfulness of mind, which includes the mind states, the emotions, our thoughts, Sankara. They call that one Chitta, mind, body, mind, heart. And then the last one is a little bit different. The first ones are things that we kind of allow them to be. We observe them. The fourth one is a little bit more of a mindfulness of action, and that's called mindfulness of dhammas, or phenomena. And that includes various lists like the 7 factors of awakening, or the 4 noble truths, or the 4 aggregates, or the 5 aggregates, or the 5 hindrances. Those are in mindfulness of dhammas. And that's the fourth one. And, Joseph Goldstein's book, which I know you borrowed it, I don't know if you got a copy of for yourself yet, but that one does a very in-depth analysis of the 4 foundations of mindfulness.
Well, I do have the PDF somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very helpful.
Anybody else have a comment or a question? Oh, Rosanna, very nice. She raised her hand. Rosanna,
Hi.
did I?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My question was about, is it appropriate when you're focusing on the breath to visualize anything? Are you trying not to visualize? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. Most of the time we are trying not to visualize. We're trying to get to a bare knowing of our experience. And so a visualization could get in between that. However, you could visualize something, but then you want to be aware of that. You want to be mindful of the visualization. But that I could almost say that would be almost another kind of meditation. And there are meditations, many that use visualizations. But in the Anapanasati, we are trying to be mindful of the breath. And so we try not to visualize, we try not to think about it, basically. We just try to know it directly.
Okay. Without picturing it.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, we don't want to picture it. We want to really see its true nature as it is.
Okay. Yes, that makes
some people,
sense. Thank you.
Yeah, some people are very visual. And while for some people thoughts come up, words come up, for other people, images come up. And, we just have different minds. I usually just talk about letting go of thoughts, but you could maybe, if you're a visual image-oriented person, you could substitute thought with image, and we want to let go of the images and then try to get to know the breath intimately. Oh, I said it right that time. Intimately, directly, without the images.
Great.
But not, I'm not saying that there aren't meditations that use images, because there are, but in this one, we try not to use them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have just a couple minutes. I thought did I see another hand? Maybe not.
Miriam.
Oh, Miriam's got her hand right there. Okay. Let's see, I gotta find you there, unmute you.
Yeah.
Okay, Miriam.
Great. Sorry, Jim. I was trying to find how to raise the hand with the theme, but I didn't find it anyway. Thanks so much for wonderful practice, wonderful talk. And I was interested in knowing how could you explain this 4th step of the Anapanasati Sutta. You have observing the breath, and then you go towards calming the bodily formation.
Mm-hmm.
And concretely, during the meditation, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think the the kind of simplest way is to relax,
Hmm.
right? So we're just relaxing and letting go, relaxing and letting go, and just kind of peeling away, you might say, the skin of the onion through this process of relaxing, literally like we're relaxing into the breath. Like the breath can even hold us as we hold the breath. And then letting whatever comes up, just letting it go gently and relaxing. And I think, at least for me, that's probably the easiest way to describe just calming the bodily formations. Relaxing, feeling, they'll arise, we just feel them, we just kind of relax into them, and then they just pass away.
And I guess you include the mind when you say that, right? It's not just a physical relaxation, you're also somehow relaxing the mind with that.
Yeah, well, yes. For me, I tend to look to the body for these things. There are some people that actually might look more towards the mind, trying to relax the thoughts. I tend, and this is just me, I tend to go to the body, focusing on the body, trying to relax the body. And as a result, my mind relaxes too. My mind calms down through the body, a través del cuerpo. That is at least how I do it.
Yeah.
But I imagine there are others who might imagine maybe using the images and trying to calm the mind down, which I imagine then the body will follow, because they're connected. But I tend to use the body.
Wonderful.
Well, we're at 12:11. Do we have, or well, our time? Do we have time for a short meditation and dedication of the merit? Are people okay with that? Okay, so yeah, I'll make it short. So just find a comfortable posture. This, by the way, this metta practice that we're going to do is a way where you can actually calm the mind through the mind, right? By using these phrases that are heart phrases, but they use a certain mental activity and they calm the mind. So this is a very good example of how we can calm the mind with the mind using these phrases of metta or goodwill, benevolencia. So yeah, starting with ourselves, it's so important, I think, to start with ourselves, to remind ourselves that we want to be happy. May I be happy. So for those of you new, I'm going to say some phrases and you can repeat them mentally to yourself. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I be free from suffering. So now let's try these phrases for our group here. May we be happy. May we be well. May we be safe. May we be free from suffering. And now I'd like to invite you to recall somebody you're having a little difficulty with. Could be a friend, a family member, maybe it's a politician, just somebody where maybe there's a resentment, some unmet expectations. And let's see if we can offer this goodwill, this metta, to this person. May he be happy. May he be well. May he be safe. May he be free from suffering. Just feel how that is. That may not calm the body quite as much as the others. And finally, let's do all beings without exception in all directions, in all the universes. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be free from suffering. And to conclude our practice today, our session together, by dedicating the merit, the fruit of our practice, our Sangha, the teachings, and our Buddha nature, they call it, that pureness of heart and mind that exists within every one of us. And offering this up to the benefit of all beings, may all beings be happy and peaceful. May they all be healthy and strong, safe and protected. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, free from pain and war and violence, and free from this virus. May all beings have what they need: safety, shelter, food, love. And may all beings find their path towards the liberation, the freedom, the cessation of suffering. May all beings be free. Thank you again. Sorry to keep you a little bit longer than what we announced. Just a quick announcement that on dhammamadrid.org, I am trying to put links that could be useful. And I added one that is a list of online sanghas like this one that must have, I don't know, 100 different ones. It's huge. And you can find it on the first page of Dhamma Madrid. Most are in English, most are in the United States, but if you're having trouble sleeping or something, it's a good resource. And Miriam, did you have an offering that you wanted to make to the group? Did I get you unmuted? No.
Did
There
I
you go.
have an offering? Maybe leading one meditation in some weeks. It's a little hectic right now, but maybe in a
Okay.
couple of weeks I can prepare myself to do something meaningful with pleasure.
Okay, well, you let us know when that comes. Okay, so I'm gonna unsilence us and we can all kind of say goodbye to each other. And yeah, we'll be back here on Sunday. And again, there's lots out there. So here we go, unmute all. And Carlos, are you still there?
I'm around. Yeah. Thank you very much. Tim.
Okay, if you want to stay on, I'll stay on.
Thank you.
So good to see you guys. I miss you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Be
you,
safe.
Jim. Thank you.
Happy
Keep
Easter.
practicing.
Thank
Happy
you.
Easter.
Easter. Happy
Yeah. Easter, Passover. Yep, it's a weird time to be inside. That's for sure.
Hola, bien.
Hola, Semana Santa. A
Yeah.
tope.
Wow. So many retreats that have, oof, that were meant to happen, but
You're missing the torrijas.
Torrijas, sí, claro.
yes.
Bueno,
French toast.
That's right. Bye, see you.
Care.
chao.
Chao.
Adiós, Ana Mónica.
Hello.
You know what?
Hello.
You know what, Carlos, I'll do. I'll call you. I'll just set up another meeting and then I'll call you. Okay.
Sure.
Just the two of you.
Bye, lovely people. Take care.
Bye.
Take care. Take
Bye,
care,
Carlos.
Ana Mónica,
Bye, Claudia.
Jim.
Actually, maybe what I'll do, Carlos, you could just stay there. Maybe I'll
I'll stick around.
kick the last people out here.
Fell asleep.
People be breathing?
I think I can. I think I have that power. It's like,
You've got the power.
so there's Teresa. Teresa, are you there? I'm going to kick you out.
Oh,
I remove. Ooh. Bye, Teresa. Okay.
Juan Miguel.
And Juan Miguel, same thing. Sorry.
Adios, Juan Miguel.
Juan Miguel, bye-bye.
There you are.
Yeah, now we're just us two.
Are you getting more sleep, Carlos?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm
Oh,
really
wonderful.
rested.
I'm so happy for you.
I'm not leaving my house, and work is at a manageable level, so I'm not